mean, this is the first drive with a little bit of boost. So far, ooh, it's a little windy. Hopefully you guys don't get that wind. Hopefully you guys get to hear the sound. So far things are going really well with this setup, guys. Sounds good, feels good. I didn't want to do, again, another first drive video with a moderate amount of boost. This is the built motor, VR6 R30 config. So I wanted to throw a little bit of boost at you. Fuck. So it's only 15 PSI, and it's like I haven't been in a quick car in about maybe 10 months. You know, the last big power setup in this car was the 5-cylinder setup, making 750, 800, which would be easy for the VR6. Obviously, I made that in my 24 valve with a stock cams and pretty much stock head. So I'm beyond excited now to get this car rolling and making some R30 music. And Jesus Christ, the R30 just sounds so good. As you guys could probably guess, we're only throwing about 15 PSI. I'm gonna do about a couple minutes of you guys looking at me so you guys can kind of see the driver's perspective, and then I'll do a couple minutes of actually looking at the dashboard. You can see how it looks, how it's running, so on and so forth. World's first VR6 real RS3 running and driving, and now with a built engine. And this year we're going to be chasing something different. Last year we chased getting this car running, proving what the handful of Audi enthusiasts and a couple of salty shop owners that haven't done anything, you know, unique, of proving we can VR6 swap and wire and build this car in a home garage. And we have Harbor Freight welded, Harbor Freight tools. So yeah, pulls fine, looks great, dashboard's nice and clear, sounds great, gets loud because of that open dump. It's got a 50 mil wastegate on there, and opened up right by the tire well down on the bottom. But things are looking good, guys. Again, the engine is still breaking in. 15 PSI I think ain't too shabby for, you know, load breaking in and kind of not going crazy. Even though some people just say, send it, right? Just send it. We are. I don't think a lot of people throw 15 pounds the first couple days it's rolling, because the car has only been like officially having boost now for, let's say, the last 4 days. But everything looks good, guys. We have individual EGT probes. Again, for those of you guys that are following us on Instagram, you guys know that we installed individual EGTs, back pressure sensor, again, in the effort of having more data and being able to read more and understand what the car is doing. Looks good. I got the laptop down on the floor. I want to make a laptop mount, and again, I'll spin the camera around so you guys can actually see what I see. And don't judge me on the dust on the inside of the RS3, because it is a little dusty, guys. She's been sitting for about a better part of 7 or 8 months now, since what, last October, and now it's June. Initially we were aiming to have it all running with the built motor in December, but delays upon delays, and then learning how to wire, completely changing the wiring scheme on what we wanted to do. I changed the wiring setup like 15 times with Stav. Stav was pissed off. God, it sounds so good. I'm trying not to talk so you guys can just hear the car. Difference between the 5-cylinder setup and this. The VR6 is one of the best sounding engines ever, and probably the best sounding Volkswagen Audi engine in this class. You know, small displacement, if you think of, not talking about your V10s and high pitch V8s, V6s, VR6s, or 5-cylinder. This beats the sound hands down. Low RPM. The 5-cylinder was a lawnmower, but wide open throttle. The 5-cylinder was pretty glorious. Got to give it to the guys over there in Audi. Yeah, wide open throttle, it just sounded amazing. But the VR just does it pretty much everywhere. Low idle, now waiting at the light. Rumble, and she's cammed, so you kind of hear that kind of lump. And it's a pretty aggressive cam we got from HST over in Austria. Cat cam, custom grind. We're trying to go as aggressive as we can with this cast iron 3.2 that's been de-stroked now to an R30. Which brings me to my next topic. So the R30 we built for pretty much high revving. You know, some R30s are going up to 9,000, 9,500 RPM. I'm still using hydraulic lifters. A lot of people that rev that high go up with a solid lifter set. I'm gonna stay with hydraulic and see how far I can go. But what I'm being told is that we're also gonna be limited to transmissions, such as a lot of the 5-cylinder guys are. I don't know how true that is. That was pretty much the premise when we were running the 5-cylinder. That was pretty much what we were being told. But you know, we were getting mixed information back then anyway, because let's just say a lot of the people that were supposed to know certain information didn't. And even now, a lot of it's kept under hush-hush. Man, it's windy today. Jesus, it sounds so good. And everything is looking solid, guys. I'm also logging at the same time, too. So after this drive, we can send this information over to the tuner in case he sees something that maybe we don't. Make adjustments if needs be, and so on and so forth. But idle, it just sounds so nasty. I wonder what this thing sounds like. You know, so we ran a 4-inch, or is it 3.5-inch open dump pretty much on the 5-cylinder car when we went drag racing. I'm kind of curious to see what the VR6 with a 4-inch open dump sounds like at the track with a turn down basically on the downpipe. And we have tons of videos with the 5-cylinder setup pretty much showcasing what that sounds like, what that move like. I just imagine now what the VR screaming with this big 79mm turbo. And again, for those, some of you guys joining us for the first time, I'll show you guys the engine bay. We'll pull over, we'll go over what it looks like. In fact, we'll get it back home when you guys can see it under good lighting. I can show you guys the EGTs. In fact, you know what? Let me pull over, switch the camera around so you can actually see the dashboard. We'll do a couple pulls, okay? Yeah, let's do that. I'll pull over real quick. Pretty loud. I think we threw about 20 psi at it, maybe, I don't know, I gotta check. What was the peak? 24 it says we threw at it. Interesting. It's funny because I have it routed for gate pressure. We should not be seeing more than 14, 15, but maybe I might have put the vacuum hose in the wrong port. But it looks like she handled pretty good. Again, not super fast, at least I don't think it is, but she did start to pick up, and it just feels like the car wants to go. This R30 is built to rev over 9,000 RPM, and you can see on the dashboard, I don't know if you can see it, I'll take a screenshot of it. It's basically having 8,000 max from the 5-cylinder setup previously, and that's generally where you see it, right? I've heard of some 5-cylinder Daza engines going up to 83, 84, but the R30 is built to spec to go well over 9,000 RPM. In fact, the fastest Audi all-wheel drive is VR6 powered and goes well over 9,000 RPM as it is. Let's make a right turn, shall we? pretty much looks factory. I do have the glove box open. I don't know if you guys can see it. I have it open, but you can close it. I keep it open. That's where we have the ECU mounted pretty much. You guys wanted to check, I have my laptop there. I gotta build a laptop mount. I've seen some people make some universal ones, but I think now that I can weld and fabricate it pretty decently, I think I want to make an aluminum one that bolts down to the bracket of the seat. Nice, smooth. I'm shifting myself in manual, but still the same RS3 transmission, DQ500. Dashboard completely works. Oh man, it even works more now that we've rewired the whole car versus when it did when I had the 5-cylinder, because the plug-and-play system was basically hacked up by the shop that previously installed it. Functions weren't there. We further developed things now. We have 20 to 30 more inputs as far as what we previously had on the 5-cylinder, as far as data, information, a better understanding. Anyway, let me not talk up ourselves too much, because who knows, this thing might just go crazy now. But guys, this is it. 15 psi, 20 psi show on the braking. The plan is to go above 40, 50 psi, get on the dyno, make a good amount of power, and then hit the track and start developing traction control, start developing launch control strategies with the tuner that we're using. I'm excited. I don't know about you guys, but I'm beyond excited. I hope you guys can get the sound. Hopefully there's not too much wind coming in and bothering it. Hopefully you guys get it. We haven't launched this thing yet, and I don't think it's even set up yet because of the break-in. The tuner's like, hey, we'll just keep it at 7,800 RPM for the break-in. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Mind you, for the 5-cylinder break-in, we were at like 6 grand, 6,500 RPM for a few days. We're straight off 7,800 RPM because of the Ferrera built valve train, cat cam, and full built R30 setup on this car is just ready to fly. I mean, to explain it to you guys, and let me see if I can put the camera back in the front so you guys can see my facial expressions. Yeah, I'll do it live. I got this little pump here on the corner, right? To do it live, to give you guys my facial expressions, it just feels so cool. Me and my brother basically built this from the ground up, and without Stav, this swap would not be possible. The wiring that he's done, the support, you know what I mean? Building an engine and machining stuff, that's easy, you know, when it comes to the grand scheme of things, but the electronic wiring and the know-how that Stav had to dive into and catch up with quick, I would have never been able to do. So Stav, I know you're listening, but thank you, man, because this is amazing. You know, there's a lot of people can slap an engine in and get things to work like we did in our B5, but as far as now a VR6 swap in on a brand new, pretty much couple-year-old RS3, and again, a car that most people wouldn't even dare to work on. You got most people afraid. I was one of them to install a fucking intake on, and here we are engine swapping this fucker with a built VR6, throwing some boost at it. So I'm just excited. Let's try one more. Fuel cut. Fuel cut. That's the tuner putting in safeties to make sure I don't overboost it. It sounds so nasty, guys. I can't wait to get this thing on the track. I cannot. And if this does well, you know, we're gonna break some stuff, mind you. We are gonna break some stuff. We're gonna break axles, drive shafts, rear diffs, front diffs, whatever the fuck. We're gonna break it. That's the whole part, right? That's the whole point of this stuff. We're gonna break stuff, and we're gonna move on and further develop the car, but I can't wait to see what this thing does off the trailer. I don't want to say, but if we can make, obviously, 4 figures, which I know we can with this motor, it feels super healthy. It looks, the data just looks amazing. I'd say 8 seconds off the trailer. We're going to be testing this at Willow Springs at some of the drag nights for the street events that they have before we go to an official quarter-mile track. So we'll have some of the groundwork as far as, you know, data. And I just ordered a GPS unit from Cyvex. Well, I'm actually, hold on. I'm about to. I pulled up the link. The tuner wants it to help better tune with launch control and understand where things are slipping and where things are not. So for those of you guys that are going Cyvex or have gone, definitely look into the GPS unit. My tuner spent about 30 minutes with me was saying, will make things like going fast at the track, hooking, understanding how to build launch control and traction control strategies that much easier, especially for a real tuner. So once we get up to 30, 40 PSI on a GT, or I'm sorry, a G Series 1450 turbo, that's when we'll find out where the rubber meets the road. This car just wants to go. And the tuner limited everything because of the engine braking, but fuck, the engine just wants to go. Anyway, let's get inside and I'll show you guys the engine bay real quick and we'll put an end to this video. Case the engine bay, the dashboard a little bit. So Stav mounted the Cyvex ECU on the inside, again protected from all the crazy heat that the engine bay has. Normally it's on the inside of the engine bay, and I don't want the ECU cooking and having issues. Again, some of the problems we had when the car was still a 5-cylinder was high temps, overheating, so on and so forth. So just happy that we've taken steps to kind of mitigate that. Stav made a port on the side. I don't know if you guys can see, we featured this also on our Instagram for the Ethernet cord. I have a yellow one. I suggest getting a black one, so this way it's better hidden. But again, and you can close that with that wire attached and not have any problems, and then log the car. But I do want to make a mount that's going to go there in the corner for the laptop, so I don't have to have it on the seat, because the seatbelt dingy thingamajiggy keeps tripping up and starts beeping on the dashboard. But yeah, that's the inside of the car. Rear of the car, I just got to put the upper back seats in, but might as well. Oh, that's the poofy nitrous bottle. But I just got to put the upper seats in. But I don't think I'm going to put them back in, meaning that when I fully intend to go drag racing with this car, the rear seats are the heaviest portion. I'm going to remove the passenger seat and go have some fun. But yeah, that's pretty much how the car is now. Tin can is what some people will call it. Removing the back seats apparently ruins the car according to some, but looks pretty good and looks pretty stock aside from the giant turbine and VR6 in the engine bay. But yeah, like I said, that's the engine bay and that's how it looks. Now with that new catch can Stav's going to design, I think it's going to look better. But that's it. Again, I think that's the sexiest, most beautiful engine bay there is in an RS3 TTRS. I don't know, there's not one that looks like this, and not one that looks like this that hasn't been to some shop and have a shit ton of money thrown at it. So to have something home built to be able to do this and produce this, it's kind of cool, and to kind of see what it's going to look like or perform on the track. So that's it, guys. That is the first drive for the built R30 VR6 engine in the Audi RS3. Where are we going from here? I kind of alluded to it while we were driving. I kind of talked about it. I have about 160. I think I said 159 on the dashboard when I checked it. But roughly about 160 miles now on the new motor. I'm looking to put 200. If I can put 250 on the break-in, maybe 20, 25 pounds of boost, which we went up to 22. I think we're pretty much there. I should probably just take this to the dyno tomorrow, but I'm going to be patient. I'm going to drive it for another week going back and forth to work. Put about another 50 or so, maybe 100 miles on it. Everything still looks good data-wise to the tuner. Electronically, if everything looks good to Stav. And again, there's still no more leaking or any issues, which right now, thank God, knock on wood, guys, there is no leaks, no issues so far. Then we'll proceed on to go with the dyno, see what she can make. Once we make the power figure that we're going to be happy with. Now, the question is, what are we happy with, right? They're 5-cylinder cars making 1,200 horsepower out there. Mind you, they last for about 3 or 4 runs and then they're broken again. I think I'll be happy with about 1,000 to about 1,100 wheel. With the torque curve the VR6 has, which is far superior to the 5-cylinder engine, I think we can go faster and quicker with almost the same amount of power, if not in the same ballpark range. So, yeah, about 1,000, 1,100 horsepower I'll be happy with. For kill runs. Obviously, this is no longer a street car. We're going to get it caged. There's a lot of safety equipment that's going to have to come into play. But once we make that minimal dyno number, then we're able to, well, the tuner will tell us, hey, you have a safe range. We made 1,100 or 1,200. We can turn it up another 15 or 20 PSI or 10 PSI, and this is where you'll be at. So, yeah, like I mentioned before driving, would be cool to go 8 seconds off the trailer with a home-built, homebrew VR6 engine swap in an RS3 that, like, a good handful of people just hate. I can't explain it. Like, guys, I've dealt with hate before online. Everyone has, if you're a car person, you're watching this channel, everyone has dealt with hate to some level, but they really hated this fucking car. Everyone loved it, 5-cylinder, you're promoting some fucking random shop from Vegas, helping them fucking build their business. And then as soon as you go on your own way and you're not going along with the same narrative, now it's fuck this car, it's never gonna run, it's never gonna happen. So we've already broken so many boundaries now, breaking so many of the stereotypes or the negative wishes that so many people put on us. I hope this motivates some of you guys at home, because if we had certain owners of shops behind closed doors, not to our faces, say that the car would never run, if we had individuals, who never work on their cars, but had shops build fast cars for them, say that the car would never run ever. And mind you, in 8 months, we got the car running. 2021, I drove this thing pretty much everywhere. And now we're throwing a built engine in there, rewired the fucker. If we can do it, and me and Stav are a bunch of idiots, then any of you guys can fucking do it. So I just want to say, no matter what shop, entity out there, no matter what category you want to compete in or you want to enter in, don't listen to the naysayers, because this was supposedly never possible. All right? This is us learning how to weld, how to wire, doing everything at home, not finding some shop to do all the work for us, right? There's no excuse. So that's where pretty much the hate pretty much stops, because the same kids or grown men that act like children who, can't even install an intake on their car are going to say that this car sucks. These are guys that are nowhere even close to doing anything close on this level. So again, if we can learn it and do it here, then you can at home. So hopefully that motivates you. Hopefully that puts things into perspective, because there's a lot of people in the stands watching people play the sport. There's a lot of people in the stands pointing the finger, and people have never done anything close to this, or let alone, build their own cars. Do it. And don't be afraid, because I wish 10, 15 years ago I learned, or at least tried to learn how to weld, because I must have saved $15,000, maybe $20,000, $25,000 just in fabrication alone. The harness that Stav built probably would have cost me around $15,000, because he completely rewired the whole car. So imagine saving 30, 35 grand off the rip just by making a small investment in time and a small investment with tools with Harbor Freight and learning how to building something at home rather than spending 40, 50 grand at a shop. So hopefully that puts into perspective. Hopefully that motivates some of you. Again, sharing my journey. I wish Stav was here so he can give you his spiel, but he's going to make a couple more videos coming up going over the tech and some of the learning things, the learning curves that he had with this car and the wiring. Go over the details. And I don't want to drag this on. How many minutes do I have recording on this so far? It's probably already 5 or 6 minutes on top of the 8 minutes of driving. So I'll just wrap it up. Guys, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you guys for the continued support. And for those of you guys that follow us on Instagram, thank you so much for the continued support there. We gained like 12,000, 11,000 followers on Instagram in the last 40 days, which is amazing. And it's been 40 days roughly since we posted on YouTube. So to see some of you guys migrate over from YouTube to come support us on Instagram, it's been awesome. Again, the messages, the well wishes, the questions, we've been trying to reach out and respond to everybody. Those of you with positive questions, we've been trying to respond back to you. But keep in mind, me and Stav work full-time jobs, and we're trying to do this stuff as a car passion on the side. So with that, I'll leave you off. My name is George. This is Malaka Motorsports. I hope you like this video and the videos to come as we continue down this journey of having fun, seeing what will break, what rinse and repeat, build, race, break, repair, and then race again. So looking forward to having fun with this car, going drag racing, seeing what she's going to do, and defeating the odds and going against the grain of the very same people that don't believe in us. So while all of you that support us fuel us, and by all means, it's probably the strongest fuel, it's good to have a little spritz of hate every now and then, because it kind of keeps us motivated. Someone tells me that it's not possible, I'll never do it. About 30 days, I'll probably be done. So again, thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next video. This is George.